Who built Wapato prison? Was it Multnomah County?
So what happened with Wapato, I do know a lot about Wapato 20 years ago. That was the time when they're focusing on, crime, and we need more jail space, and we don't have nearly enough jail space for all the people. We're going to build this new jail. We're going to issue a bond to get the money to build the jail. Or we're going to, have voters vote on this to build a jail. They didn't plan on the operations for the jail, but they did issue, there was something that voters voted on to fund operations of the jail. So it was put into the voters' hands. The voters voted to build the jail, but they voted down the measure to operate and provide the services for the jail. The sheriff's office and the county didn't have the money to operate it. And so it sat there, and instead of sort of figuring out what it would take to operate it and do it, right? It was just like, oh, this jail's there. And then it, went out of vogue, like, oh, we don't want to incarcerate, we want less people in jails. Why would we use this giant jail? Then the jail was sort of sitting there, and it cost, obviously a huge amount of money. And then that's when the conversations started about, well, what could it be used for? And that's where and that's the former chair of the county commission, Deborah Kafori, she just had it in her head, no, we are not using the jail for that. Because I thought, why don't we use this facility as that alternative to jail, as a substance use disorder treatment, or the place for people to go that does need to be secure. Why can't we do that? And I was told at the county by all the department people who the chair hires, oh no, we can't, we can't afford that. There's zoning things. There's all these there's so many barriers to doing anything with it. It's impossible. We can't do it. So we need to sell it, and it's not worth very much. So that's that's what all the information that we got at the county was, basically that message. So sold it for a ridiculous amount, it was like more than we were told it was worth, but tiny amount. Bybee Lakes, I love Bybee Lakes. They're doing a fantastic job. I've supported them from the beginning.
I want people to know the name Bybee Lakes Hope Center here in the Portland metro area, and have that be a recognizable name, and not say, what is that? Or if I say I work for...
They know Wapato jail.
And see, I don't want that. I think that is awful that that reference is still there, because it is not Wapato anymore. And as we walk through here, you will see that. It is not Wapato. Wapato never opened. We opened. Bybee Lakes opened. So that's the piece that I want people to know. And I want to be able to go to a party and say, I work for Helping Hands, we run Bybee Lakes. They're like, oh yeah, I know about that place, that's awesome.
What's your relationship with Schnitzer? Because we saw the sign, it's a Schnitzer Complex.
Yeah, so Jordan actually bought the building and leases it to us for $1.
For $1?
Yeah, a year.
$1 a year.
$1 a year. And so, we are in communications with him in his office all the time. It's a good relationship. So the man had a vision, and, by chance, a man that was homeless for 27 years happened to be friends with a senator. That senator happened to know a billionaire that had a building that wanted to create a homeless center. Luck, it could be divine intervention, whatever you want to call it. It's here, it's open. As you can imagine, this building was built to, in its previous iteration, was built as minimal transition. So it was supposed to take people from prison population and transition them back into society. The front entrance, for example, had metal detectors, x-ray machines, and it was very closed off because it didn't want to allow people free access in and out through here. So we opened it up. We had a design firm called Knot Designs, K-N-O-T. They donated all of their services for creating our signage and wayfinding. And they went so far as to create the front facade on the building. They did all the colors in a trauma-informed manner. They looked at studies on children with autism in color. And so that's how they pulled the color blocks. And we liked them so much, we pulled it inside the building because it changes the look and feel of it a little bit. This area that we're standing in now, this would have been visitation. And so it was walled off. If you think in the movies with the glass partitions and the telephones, that's what went between here and then all the way down that way as well. So we opened it up. We even opened up the walls just to allow the peekaboos through for the colors and stuff. We put storefront windows down the hallway over there to allow natural light to come in. This area is now our visitors lounge, so people can have family and friends come visit. How our program works. So we are a referral-only program. We've trained community partners in each of the communities that we serve to be able to refer to our organization in a trauma-informed manner. We understand that people have experienced traumas in their past that could be impacting the way that they're acting today, and that actually has nothing to do with you in this present moment. And so we do this because we want to ensure that our referral partners don't accidentally trigger someone while they're trying to help them. Our referral partners ask a few screening questions because unfortunately we can't serve everybody here. We have children here, so we can't have sex offenders here. It's a very large property. It's 155,000 square feet. And we don't have staff to wheel people around, get you in and out of bed, feed you, help with hygiene things. So you have to be self-sufficient and able to care for yourself in that matter. But once you're referred here, you can come that same day. You come into what we call a low barrier emergency shelter. In that low barrier shelter, you get up to 30 days. And during that time, you can eat, you can sleep, decompress, hopefully come out of survival mode a little bit. And then we have staff here that will start helping the person to navigate the next step in their journey. Because our goal is once you get in the doors, we want to divert your path from going back to the street. So our navigation specialists that we have here, they can help a person figure out what is going to be the best fit for them. Whether it's I'm a victim of domestic violence and I want to go to a DV shelter, maybe I need to go into detox, and so we'll help you get to a detox center. Maybe you want faith-based, and we'll help you get to a faith-based program. But there is an option to go into our own long-term reentry program. Our reentry program is a higher barrier model. And so you come in through low barrier, and then there's an option to go into our high barrier program. The high barrier program you can be in as long as you need to be, as long as you're making progress against your individual reentry plan that we talked about already. When you go into that program, you're assigned a case manager, and your case manager is going to help you figure out what is your individual reentry plan. Part of that plan includes classes. We have mandatory classes such as financial literacy, communication, de-escalation practices. There's relapse prevention if you're working on addiction issues. And we put together a schedule of over 150 classes that as a participant in the program, you can make the choice what classes you wish to attend. We also offer optional classes like creative writing or art therapy. We've got a garden, we've got yoga, all things designed to help people figure out how to express their emotions in healthy manners. So this is art that's actually done by our participants, and we've got supplies upstairs for them to be able to do. They do everything from painting to origami, you name it, and we have people that come in and teach classes for it too. So all of our classes are taught by volunteers from communities, from the community. We have people from banks that come in and teach our financial literacy. There's where we're located here in North Portland, over on Hayden Island, there's a condo community there where some of the women in the condo community come over here and teach. They've got a class that they call the conversation jar. So they take little strips of paper, they cut them up, and they write sentence prompts on it. Like, I like winter because, and then the group goes around and they talk about it, and it's a way to help people start to engage with each other and talk. So we have a lot of community partners that are helping to teach those classes. When it comes to some of the things like washing dishes or cleaning and stuff like that, part of that long-term reentry program has volunteer hours for our participants. If you're not working, it's 10 hours. If you are working, it's 5 hours. And you can do those volunteer hours here on site, or you could go to another nonprofit and do them as well. Basically, our program is really trying to bring back life skills for people. You know, with the volunteer program, you actually sign up to do a shift of something, whether it's washing dishes, whether it's dusting, or whatever it is. And you have to show up at a certain time. And you have to do the work that's required. And you have to do it for the length of time, kind of like when you have a job. And so it's bringing back that life skill of time management and getting used to that routine. That helps us reduce our costs as well. So as part of our long-term reentry program, it is a membership program. People join, and as part of their memberships, there are dues that they pay. If you recall back, I talked about life skills with the volunteer piece of it. This is life skills to help people start getting back into the habit of budgeting and paying bills. And so the fee is $250 a month. It's not a huge amount, and it doesn't cover our costs. But
Is it one time?
no, it's $250 a month. We scholarship people and help them get a source of income. Whether it's employment, because we work with Goodwill, they help us with job placement skills. We work with other organizations that do that as well. And I mean, in this business park that we're sitting in, there's hundreds of jobs available. So probably over half of the people that are in our long-term program are actually out working right now. You'll notice it's quiet. It's not because you all are here. It's because people are out working, or there's a class going on, or they're doing their volunteer work, because there's stuff for people to do. But it's important to bring back some of these life skills that either may never have been taught or were lost. Bybee Lakes has 318 beds here. Those 318 beds include our emergency shelters. It includes dorms for families. It includes a rainbow dorm for those in the LGBTQIA plus community. And currently, the county has funded us to operate 175 of those beds. So right now we're staying right about that 175 number, while we work to find additional funding to be able to ramp up to the larger number, because we have to bring on more staff when we have more people. Currently we have 3 case managers here, because of those 175, probably about 20 to 25 are children. So they don't get case managers.
For the facility, it is open 5 days a week from 7 to 5:30. I am here right now currently only 3 days a week because I go to school, but during winter breaks and summer breaks, that's when I'm here on site full time. And then we have other staff that come in as well to help supplement when we need that help. And that's for 5 days a week as well. So a lot of my focus has been with kids that have experienced trauma and experienced things that may have happened earlier in their childhoods or even going on it currently. And so things that we usually try to work on is just being able to express our feelings, because we've noticed that a lot of the times when we have children that may not know exactly what they're feeling, we try to help them give ideas about what they may be feeling, why they may be feeling that, and how can we help them go through that, because it can be hard as a kid. They may not know what they're going through. They may not know what exactly they're feeling. And so when somebody is there to help guide them, it really helps them open their eyes to the idea that it's okay to have feelings, and how can we express those feelings in a way that helps us. My favorite age group would probably be the preschoolers, because they're still so young, but they really are curious about everything. They want to know things. They are asking questions, and I love being able to show them Exactly. Interact with them and show them the realities of the world.
Historically, our organization, when we were just in the rural communities, not here in Portland, would have a 2/3 men, 1/3 women type of a split. But we've seen since we've come to the metro here in Portland, but we've also been noticing that change and shift in our rural communities. We're getting a lot closer to 50-50. Between men and women. We also do count people that are gender non-binary in there as well, and they've been coming in about a 6% of our total population that's coming through. We have dormitories here for our emergency shelters for men and for women. We have dormitories for men with children and women with children. Then we've got our long-term dorms for men and for women, and then we also have the Rainbow Dorm for people in that LGBTQI plus community. And in those types of dorms, like the Rainbow Dorm or the family dorms, we run both our emergency shelter and our reentry program there. But if you identify as male or female, you'll move from the emergency shelter dorm to our reentry dorm in that case. Because there's only a total of 9 dormitories here, and so we had to figure out a good split with that. The next place we're going to go to is one of the dormitories. I'll give you the rules kind of up front. I will announce that we are coming in there. I'll announce that women are in there as well because we're going into one of the men's dorms. It is where people live. Okay, so there are curtains that are down. Don't pull back the curtains. There are bathrooms and showers in there. Don't go into the bathroom and showers. And you know, just treat it like someone's house. So, and again, I remind, no pictures of people. All of our dormitories have bunk beds. They're all open congregate living. They're not individual rooms. A lot of people think, oh, you get your own little private room, and that's not how it works. In each section, there's 2 bunk beds, and then we put a pony wall up, so there's a little bit of privacy. There's lockable storage. We dropped electricity down into them so you could charge your devices. The canvas gives a little bit of privacy. It also helps with sound dampening, and they're fireproof. And then the light blue canvas is because the safety rails were out of code, but it also helps with that sound dampening. Because as you can see, I mean, it's a big open space with a lot of hard surface that is going to echo. We've got TV rooms in here. You'll notice this room has frosted windows. So I mentioned that some of our staff are participants in the program. If you're a staff participant, you actually get a little private space. So that way you can get away and not always be on working. We do have living rooms set up in each of our dormitories. We've got bathroom areas, shower areas. They're all stalled for privacy. We've got refrigerators for folks, microwaves, shelving space.
Wow, this is a bar.
It's our coffee corner. We don't have bars here.
Oh, but it looks like a bar.
It actually used to be the guard stand. And so what we did, we'd never be able to take it out without there being an ugly spot on the floor. And so we took it down to where the power is. And then we took and built it back up. And we built this up as a communal place so people can come together. They could sit here and work. You could have a meal here if you don't want to eat in the dining hall. You can have your laptop, you name it. So
When the new entrants come in the emergency shelter, what the typical enrollment day?
So when they come into our emergency shelter, like I said, we do this intake process where we collect all that information. And then we give a person a tour. We want to show them where they can do their laundry, where they go for meals, because the building is kind of confusing, and so we try to show them around. We'll take them to the dormitory, assign them a bunk, and make sure everything's set. And then our staff just kind of checks in with people every now and then. But they're free to, if they need to sleep for 12 hours, sleep for 12 hours. If you want to go to the TV room and watch TV, you can do that. There's books all over the place if you want to read. We've got games around. But people are pretty much free to do what they want. But then after the first couple of days, that's when we're going to help start talking with you about what it is that you want to do. As far as the next step in your journey while you're here.
So how many meals do you serve, and do they all eat in the same place, or there are different places for full meals?
So we provide 3 meals a day. We've got snacks out 24/7 because people that have been food insecure could be triggering not knowing where food is at. Breakfast usually ranges like a continental type breakfast. Lunch, it really varies. It could be, actually yesterday 7-Eleven dropped off a bunch of sandwiches and donuts because they're getting prepared for the storm that's coming up and they know they can't deliver to all their stores. So we put out sandwiches. Otherwise, it could be leftovers. It could be a variety of things. And then there's always a hot meal. We try to be culturally responsive to different dietary restrictions, as well as vegetarianism, vegan, you name it. As long as we're notified, we can work to make accommodations for people. We have a main dining room, which is where the food is served. But if you don't want to eat there, you could go back to your dormitory if you want to eat there. So there are other places people can eat. It's not you are required to sit here and eat or anything like that. And if they don't want to eat the food that we're cooking, they don't have to eat it either.
So that's their dinner, I see.
Yeah, so tonight they are making turkey pot pie. Actually, that's for tomorrow night. So they're preparing tomorrow night's dinner with turkey pot pie. Tonight they're doing Philly cheesesteak sandwiches for folks. But with the weather coming the way it's going to be, we like to make some comfort food. We got a bunch of soups made up. And so, our organization, we spend very little money on food because we work really hard to get a lot of it donated. Because the size of our kitchen, we've got commercial size refrigerators and walk-ins that we can actually accept pallets worth of donations. And so we get calls from distributors saying, I've got a pallet of broccoli that I can't sell to the store. Can you guys take it? And we'll take it, and our volunteers come in and they help clean it up, and then we blanch it and freeze it so that way we have broccoli for a longer period of time. We do have vocational training opportunities, so you can utilize your volunteer hours and come into the kitchen, work with our kitchen manager or our kitchen assistants and learn some skills. And eventually what we want to do is bring in chefs from restaurants to be able to come in and work alongside our participants so they can network, and that leads to jobs. And then we've also partnered with Oregon Restaurant and Lodging Association because they offer higher level certifications. So like a kitchen manager, for example. But we also, Stone Soup in the community, we work with Stone Soup. And so there's all these partnerships going on that really are here to benefit and help our participants as they navigate through their program. The other thing that we do is we're working to create partnerships with other nonprofits that are out there to utilize our space because, this kitchen, there's a lot of room. You can cook thousands of meals here. And when we are at full capacity, we need about 1,000. Just for example, this last Thanksgiving, we worked with another nonprofit that was approached to provide meals to some low-cost housing places that didn't have kitchens. And so we worked together and they utilized our kitchen and we helped cook all the turkeys while we were cooking our turkeys and, cook the stuffing while we were cooking our stuffing. And
then just split or
box
share
it up
with them.
and they were able to deliver. And so we helped 3 different communities as well as the Friday after Thanksgiving. They were able to make up chili for 350 people living on the street. And so more of those partnerships, we definitely want to try to create that because, again, it goes back to we want to help people.
After 30 days of the emergency, what is the end of the program if they don't want to become members?
We know that some people just want to get off the street for a little bit. They're not ready to go into any sort of program. And they know up front that, hey, this is good for 30 days. There are times where when it gets towards the end of that 30 days, someone may say, you know what, I think I really want to do something. And it may take a little bit longer than the 30 days. And so our navigation folks will work with them. Our job of what we do here and what we really want to do is be able to get someone through the door and help them. Because that's what we do, is we help people. The majority of the people that work here have all experienced homelessness themselves. A good bit of them have been through our programs, And so they know what it's like. And so you may not be ready. If you're in survival mode and really deep in it, it may take you 3 or 4 weeks to let your guard down just a little bit to start making a longer term decision. If you need a little bit of extra time, we're going to work with you because we don't want to put you back on the street. But there are people that we know that, I want to go back. I want to go use my drugs, or I don't like being inside a building, or I'm just not ready. And that's okay. Just let us know when you are and you can come back.
My thinking is like the person already came, stayed almost all 30 days, then left on the street, and then in 3 months, can they come back on their own, or do they need to go through the referral
You would have
agents?
to give us a call. And because we don't have people just show up at the front door. And that's for a reason, because we can't help everybody just because of some of the parameters that we have, like with children, for example. And so you have to give us a call.
Do I understand correctly that there is no separation from the emergency guys and the family shelter? So the emergency people can visit the family sheltered people.
Well, so they're dormitories, and you can only go in your own dormitory. You can't go into a different dormitory.
So
if
there
you're
a key or something?
No, but there's staff around, and there's people there are eyes everywhere. So we keep track of everything. The biggest thing that we ask people to do is be kind and respectful. And if you're kind and you're respectful, you're going to be doing just fine here. We have quiet hours. There's lights off in the dormitories. And, if you're in the emergency shelter, there's a curfew at a certain time. If you're in the reentry program, there's a later curfew. But if you have an overnight job, just let us know. Or if you want to take a leave of absence, let us know. And because maybe I want to go see my family for the weekend, or maybe I have a court date and that it's out of town and I have to go do that. But if you just let us know, we're going to work with you.
So I know the requirement is they need to come sober here, but the addiction doesn't go away even if you're sober for a week or a month. So how do you handle these people here?
We collect a lot of data. We have our own proprietary database, and when someone comes through the door, we collect their demographic information, we collect their needs and their obstacles for them to be housed. And addiction is running about 54% of the people that come through the door. There's a misconception that a lot of people have that if you're homeless, you are addicted and you have mental health issues, and that's just not the case. When it comes to addiction, we ask people not to use the day that they show up, and we are very upfront that we are a clean and sober campus. And when someone comes into the emergency shelter, we do not drug test there. It's when they go into the long-term program, that's when they drug test. But if their addiction is so much that they're not ready to work on that piece of it, we're going to help them find a place that will be more better suited for them where they're at currently. That doesn't mean they can't come back at another time. We haven't talked about the property at all. We sit on 17 acres here, and as you saw when you drove up, you didn't see campsites, you didn't see people in distress. It's really quiet out here, which is a benefit of being a little bit removed from downtown. And our participants are able to go out and work in the garden. There's actually a road that laps all around our property. People can go out and walk if they want to get out and walk. We're not too far from Kelly Point Park, so you can get down to the river if you want to. But the nice thing is we're seeing deers, we're seeing bald eagles, we're not seeing drug dealers, we're not seeing people in distress. So we opened up, as I mentioned before, walls as much as we can to let in natural light. So we put these giant storefront windows here as well, which allows you to be able to see out to our garden space here. So we partnered with a nonprofit called Vet Rest. They're a veteran-run nonprofit with a mission of creating victory gardens across the country in an effort to bring veterans together to get their hands dirty and talk about PTSD and suicide. And so we do have a veteran population that we serve here, and so they were very interested in working with us. What started as a 100 by 100 plot has become over 3 acres. We've actually got an orchard out there across the way with 120 fruit-bearing trees, 40 blueberry plants. We've got our in-ground beds We've got raised beds for people with accessibility. We've got our storage greenhouse. We eventually want to get a 30 by 70 teaching greenhouse out there so we could be running all year long. But all of this fruit and produce goes right
Use
into
in
our
the kitchen.
Yes, and it's fantastic. They've got an OHSU master gardener that comes out and works with us. Our participants are able to go out there and work. The garden then goes down here to your right, where we've got a meadow with therapeutic walking paths through it, and then it wraps around to the front of the building, where we have a memorial to homeless folks that lost their lives on the street. So the county has kept count since 2011 of the number of people that have been listed as domicile unknown. And so we have put a board out there with the yearly count on it. We've got a separate board out there with where people in the community at cost can put a name plaque as someone that lost their lives on the street. And we come together to remember and honor those folks on the winter solstice, the longest night of the year. And so your viewers, everybody, you all are welcome to come out next December 21st. We start usually at 5:30 and we just have a night of remembrance. It's a really nice evening.
You mentioned that right now there are about 175 people here, and they're all financed using Multnomah County funds.
Correct.
Am I right?
Yes, we have since received some other grants as well. But so did you follow us in the paper over the summer?
That you were saying that you're going to close
Yeah.
if the county is not going to give the money.
We had gotten to a point where if we didn't have a large infusion of cash, we weren't going to be able to make our payroll. And, you know, that came about because of a few different things that had changed. We were receiving money for this location based on being a navigation center. And the state had funded that the previous 2 years, and it was supposed to be ongoing funding. And unfortunately, those monies got shifted in their purpose, and we weren't receiving that. We had also received $1 million from the city of Portland the year before, which we didn't receive any.
This year.
Yeah, in 2023. And then add on to that the SHS tax, the Supportive Housing Services tax. And our major donors are all being taxed. And they're saying the county is sitting on all this money, so, you know, please go talk to them and get it from them.
Because we already paid to sponsor you. The money was just not transferred for the purpose that we were taxed. Got it.
You know, but we have been working since we got the funds from the county, and we've been working really closely with the Joint Office of Homeless Services, and we meet with the county CFO on a regular basis, and so we're doing all the things that we need to with them. But we've also been, you know, our organization, we apply for grants in the spring, and they usually don't come through until fall time frame and stuff like that. And so we've had those grants are starting to come in, and so I see us on a path to sustainability.
So you're going to increase the number of beds from 175 to 300, whatever.
Cautiously, yes.
Everything looks great. Now our question, like, what problems do you have that community should be aware and help you solve?
The first problem is going to be sustainability. I want to make sure, and I've really been working on this, each facility is sustainable. Not the organization, because I want the organization sustainable, of course. Each facility is sustainable and has a sustainable model, so that way this vital service that we're providing, and you know, when we said we were closing our doors, everyone realized, oh, it is a vital service and we should be stepping up to pay for it. So we're working through that problem. The second piece, for your viewers, we would love to have them come out and teach classes. We would love for volunteers to come out and be a part of what we do and see what we do. Come help cook a meal, come serve a meal. Maybe there's some traditions that you have that we don't know about that you would love to share with us. We would love that. So having that community involvement is a key for us. We've been working to find a partner to come in and actually run our dental suite, our dental suite and our medical clinic, because ideally what we envision is, you know, imagine a person coming off the street into an emergency shelter, getting their organ health plan, and within a day or two getting a full medical evaluation. And then if they go into our long-term program, they can start working on some of those longer chronic issues. And then when they're completing their program, they're already getting set up with primary care physicians out in community, so that way they're already set for when they leave here. And so that's what we've envisioned, and it's been really difficult, as you can imagine, during a pandemic to actually get someone to come set that up.
Helping 325 people is great, but we have more homeless people in Portland on the street. What type of organizations are needed to help them? And do you think the Hope is going to operate more shelters like Bybee Lakes? Or what's the way out of the current crisis that we have on the streets?
The homeless crisis in Portland is very visible. But, interestingly, Clatsop County and Tillamook County per capita have more homeless people than Portland, which most people don't realize that, the coastal regions are more impacted than the metro
There are more
area.
forests. You do not see them.
There are more places to be. We actually, since opening this one, we opened up a center in Lincoln City. And I was telling someone about that, and they said, I didn't realize there's homeless people on the coast. And so that misconception that's out there. Now, me personally, what do I think needs to happen? I think there needs to be a bigger collaborative effort. I think organizations need to want to work together more because I feel that the environment has created a homeless industrial complex, that there are organizations out there that get paid to do a certain thing, and they want to continue to grow and grow and grow. And if homelessness gets better, their organization is going to shrink. That impedes working together collaboratively, because it's not going to be one organization, it's not going to be one entity, it's not going to be one government that's going to solve the problem. It's got to be everybody. It's got to be communities coming together and being willing to share their data and reference and talk to each other.
When we had interviews with the government officials, their approach and their suggestion was that we do not have enough affordable housing. If we have more affordable housing, we'll be able to resolve our homeless crisis. What do you think? Having affordable housing built and available, will it solve the problem?
To go from the street directly into a house, if you've been chronically homeless for 15 years, how are you going to know how to keep a house? How are you going to have the life skills that you need to make that happen? There needs to be a flow. That's kind of what we look at here. As people come off the street, they go into our emergency shelter, they flow into either our reentry program or into another program. And then from there, they can work to get their voucher. They can flow into housing at that point. And I think a lot of times, as people look at this crisis, and I will say specifically people in government, and they're looking at it, they're trying to say, but look at all these beds that we put here. But if you don't have a flow for once someone gets to that bed is always full, and there's nowhere else to move someone else into it. And so I think, affordable housing is one piece, but you need the other pieces with it as well. So that way there's always this flow in movement, because it's not always going to be a linear flow either, because someone may go back out and go back here, and then they get back in the flow and maybe go back out again, and then they come in and they're good. I've seen people come through our facilities 2, 3, 4 times. And maybe the 4th time is when it sticks.
What is usually happening to the people who went through emergency, who went through long-term rehabilitation, and they're ready to join their regular life? Do you have examples of that? And how would you describe the experience, the success experience?
So it's really interesting. People's journeys when they come through our program and the types of things that they have to overcome really varies. I've had people that, they come in through our emergency shelter. We help them get health insurance on the Oregon Health Plan, and that leads them to start dealing with immediate conditions, but then they're able to start tackling chronic conditions, those long-term things that have been happening. And I've had several people that they've found cancer, and they've gone through their radiation, their chemotherapy, all while in our shelters, and then they go into remission, and they're able to start working and getting into housing and moving out. We've had many successes with that, and I think that's one of the interesting things is that if they would have stayed on the street, those things most likely would have taken their lives, those medical conditions. And so having a safe place like we have here, and being able to get those medical conditions evaluated and a long-term treatment plan for it, and to go through that all while doing the other things that you need to do, like maybe building up your credit, working on your sobriety, whatever it is, and then being able to move out is just amazing.